Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. Today we learn all about the Wollaston Garden Club's annual spring plant sale. It's coming up this Saturday. First, though, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, 59 degrees with a lot of clouds around. I think the clouds will win out today. Should stay dry and relatively mild with temperatures in the low 60s this afternoon. Clearing out tonight, another chilly night as lows drop off into the mid-40s. Sets us up for a lovely Tuesday. Lots of sunshine, mild temperatures, low 60s, light winds tomorrow. Definitely the pick of the week, I think. Things get gray here on Wednesday. Should stay dry during the daylight hours. The showers move in Wednesday evening. Highs Wednesday around 60 degrees. Looks kind of cool and damp here on Thursday, off and on showers, maybe a rumble of thunder on Thursday. Cooler too, with highs in the upper 50s and clearing out again for Friday. And next weekend looks fantastic, so we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, 59 degrees in Quincy with clouds right now. Checking out the news for you today, the Quincy City Council will hold the first of 4 scheduled meetings regarding next year's proposed city budget tonight. The Finance Committee will meet at 7:30 at City Hall, beginning with a public hearing. The councilors will be reviewing the proposed $492 million spending plan that was presented by Mayor Thomas Koch last week. City Council President Ann Mahoney says officials will be closely examining the budget, keeping in mind the city's $1.8 billion in debt.
Should we have reserves? Our financial analyst said, yes, we need to build our reserves and we need to, be careful about how we're moving forward. And $1.8 billion is a lot of debt. When we go and ask for our DIF, like I said myself, when I went and asked, and Councilor Yuen went in and asked, and we get told not here, not there, not anywhere, but the doors are always open. I would say that that's us working with them, but we're not feeling that, that work coming back. So we do have to work better together. Nobody's demanding anything. We're not saying anybody, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything. We're just asking for this information. We're being very fair about when we're asking for it. It's not unreasonable for a counselor to ask for that information. And I think, it's just a matter of, again, we have new counselors learning their voices. We have an administration that has not really had to answer to anybody for a very long time, having to learn to work with us. And we will get there. I truly do believe that. And, we just need the information to get there. More information provided to this council, the more likely we'll be able to come back with, good answers that will be able to protect the taxpayers and enhance the opportunities for the city of Quincy.
Mayor says the budget represents a 2.9% increase with no new programs or positions. There are 4.5% increases in public safety and education, plus increases for contractual pay raises, health insurance, trash collection, and energy. There are budget hearings also scheduled for May 19th, June 2nd, and June 10th. The council may approve or cut the budget, but may not make any additions. The new fiscal year begins on July 1st. And while the City Council is reviewing next year's proposed budget, councilors are also reviewing a request from the mayor to buy the former Eastern Nazarene College property. After presenting his budget last week, Mayor Thomas Koch introduced a separate order requesting the council to approve borrowing $22.5 million to buy the former college and begin planning the future for that site.
I think there's a number of community needs that could be met with that campus. And I mentioned last night selling off the single-family homes to Quincy kids, first-time home buyers perhaps. Those then go on the tax rolls, and that number, whether it's $8 and $9 million, that then takes the price tag way down. We talked about Quincy College having the use and the ownership of the gym and the field, which would they would contribute each year to the debt service on the property. That knocks the price further down. We're talking about 55 and over, some affordability projects for that demographic, and we have the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which could help knock that number down. So I think we can pull this off without adding any burden necessarily to the debt.
Koch said the college agreed to a purchase price of $21 million. The additional funds will be needed to begin preparing the site for future uses. Some ideas presented by the public do include creating some senior housing and allowing Quincy College the use of the gym and the playing fields. Mayor says a decision is needed by June 15th in order for the deal to be approved, or the college may look elsewhere for a buyer. Well, the issue of whether the Lunar New Year should be a school holiday in Quincy continues. Last week, a large number of residents told the school committee that the holiday is an important cultural event in the Asian community that should be recognized because of Quincy's large Asian population. Quincy Public School parent Alexis Veith argued that some school committee members are not listening to the people that put them in office.
I remind you that this committee is an elected body, and your job is to represent your constituents and the best interests of Quincy's school community, 40% of whom are Asian and celebrate Lunar New Year. So I can't understand why some of you still choose to dig in on denying families the ability to celebrate their most important holiday together. It's clearly not politically expedient for those of you who are up for re-election next year. Your newest colleagues were the top vote getters in the last election and were extremely vocal in their support of Lunar New Year. It's not in the best interest of students who have to either miss school or sit in half-empty classrooms watching movies all day. It's not in the best interest of our teachers who have to adjust their lesson plans to account for the high number of absences or secure a substitute so they can celebrate with their families. And some of you have tried to dress up your refusal as an issue of logistics or equality, saying that acknowledging a cultural holiday with a date that changes year to year is somehow an unprecedented act that would throw the calendar into chaos and serve only one cultural group within the city. But Good Friday has served for decades as proof of concept that it is logistically simple to accommodate a holiday when the timing changes year to year, and it too only is relevant to one specific cultural group.
Now, the most recent issue is whether or not a two-thirds majority vote on the school committee would be needed to create the holiday. Mayor Thomas Koch said that issue needs to be clarified at the May 20th meeting. Currently, members Kathy Hubley, Tina Cahill, and Paul Bergoli oppose creating the Lunar New Year holiday. The mayor, Courtney Perdios, Tom Leung, and Kate Campbell are in support of the holiday. One more supporter would be needed to meet the two-thirds threshold. Opponents also argue that the holiday would have to be included in the teacher's contract. The foundation for the new Squantum Elementary School is done. The most recent construction update says that the slab foundation and the steel structure for the new building have been completed, so the tower crane can be removed from the site. That update also says the focus now is on building the floors and the walls for the new building. Up to 80 workers are expected on the job site daily as work begins on the electrical, plumbing, mechanical, and fire suppression systems. The new school is still on schedule to open in the fall of next year. Family, friends, and former colleagues of former Quincy Mayor James Sheets gathered on Saturday in the Richardson Room of the Thomas Crane Library and Quincy Center for a memorial service honoring his life and legacy in Quincy. Sheets died in January at the age of 90 in his native Pennsylvania. Sheets' son, Jimmy, said that although his father wasn't originally from Quincy, he considered it his second home.
To my father, public service was never about power, it was about people. And that is the legacy that he leaves behind. Not just buildings, not just projects or policies or accomplishments, thousands of lives touched by his kindness and his willingness to help whenever someone needed him. And while the city may remember Dad as mayor, those of us who knew him best will remember something even greater. A man who served with his whole heart. A man who never forgot who he worked for. A man whose greatest accomplishment was the good that he did for others. Thanks, Dad.
That was Sheets' son Luke playing the guitar, singing the Battle Hymn of the Republic during the service, which was attended by many current and former city and state officials and business leaders. Sheets served as mayor from 1990 to 2002, was previously a Ward 4 city councilor and a state representative, and also went on to teach at Quincy College and Eastern Nazarene College. He's survived by his wife of 66 years, 4 children, and 10 grandchildren. Another celebration of life service will also be held in Jefferson, Pennsylvania on June 20th. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, the Wollaston Garden Club preparing for their annual spring plant sale. We'll learn all about it coming up next. Welcome back. Spring has sprung, yes, here in the studio. I'm currently in Quincy. Time to tell you about the Wollaston Garden Club and their annual plant sale that is coming up this Saturday, May 16th, 9 to noon at the former Wollaston Congregational Church, but we still call it that because we love it and it's the Garden Club's home. So, Ann Foresman, Kathy Ceurvels, ladies, happy spring.
Happy spring. I think it might actually be almost here.
It's finally, right? It seems like we've waited a long time this year. Spring has been kind of fits and starts.
It's been a difficult spring
Yes.
because the ground just stayed frozen. You know, for our interests of pulling up plants from people's houses and getting them acclimated to a pot, so then they can go home to your house and be put in your garden.
Yes.
So the timing is tight. You know, we can't start in April if there's still snow on the ground and the ground's frozen and no plants are coming up.
I hope it means that, you know, summer's going to extend it to December this year. maybe
Well,
it's just
that
a
is-
delayed start.
I hope we don't have one of those non-existent springs
No,
that goes
no.
from winter to summer.
No, I don't think that's
But
going to
the
happen this year.
good thing about the cool weather is you notice that the daffodils stayed in bloom longer.
True.
So, yeah.
Look at you looking on the bright side.
You know, that cool weather
I
kept all
know.
those flowers
And
going.
all the lilacs this year are fabulous.
Yes.
Yesterday was Lilac Sunday, actually.
Yes.
at the Iron Arboretum.
Yes, but you can go there now
Yeah, oh, yeah.
and not have the crowd.
I like
You
to
know,
go on
so-
Lilac Monday.
Lilac Monday, that's right. Kathy, just real quick for folks who might not know, even though you've been around for over 100 years.
Yeah, well-
What's the Wollaston Garden Club?
The Wollaston Garden Club has been around for 100. We're coming up on our 100th year anniversary,
Yeah.
which is amazing. And every year we put out a book.
Yep.
And they're all the pictures from, you know, our own members, and it tells you everything that we're going to do all year. It's going to tell you who the speakers are,
Yeah.
who we donate to. I mean, it's chock full
Very
of stuff.
comprehensive, yeah.
Yes, very, very important. And every year it gets updated.
Okay.
So, right now we have 127 members.
You're reading my mind. Okay.
And we have quite a few gentlemen, and they're lovely additions. We're really happy, and we don't. You don't have to live in Quincy. We have people that live in Hingham, that live in Braintree, that that moved away but still come for our meetings.
You can be a member of more than one garden club, too.
Absolutely.
We know people that are,
Sure,
and God
yeah.
love them.
Right, exactly, yes,
That's
yes.
a lot of extra work, I think, if you're going to get really involved.
Right.
Which not everybody can because of their age or something.
Time constraints.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
but they've done what they're doing to help the club. I mean,
Sure.
maybe they don't dig, maybe they don't, but they feed us. We eat really well in between our meetings.
Very
and
important.
There'll be a food table at the plant sale for.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We have priorities.
Yeah. We are known for really good spreads,
Well, it's it's in the morning, so folks are looking for
Yeah,
their
a
coffee and
donut, a
pastries.
kid wants a donut, or donut hole or whatever, but yeah, we're everybody contributes in whatever way they can.
I mentioned where you meet, the Wollaston Congregational Church. When do you meet?
We meet on the Thursdays starting in September, the third Thursday of the month, and we alternate. So if September is a day meeting, then the next month will be a night meeting.
Okay.
So that we have members that are still working and can't get to the
Yep.
day meeting. So we alternate. So.
Okay. And how does one become a member?
Oh, wow, just very easy. It's only $30 for the whole year, and you can actually go onto our website, the Wollaston Garden Club, and there will be a link there for you to fill out a form and send it to our treasurer, Marnie, and we'll vote you in, and
Voila.
we'll be happy to have you. Yes, we just voted in 2 new members in the past couple of weeks.
Oh, that's great. Excellent. How did they find out about you?
A lot of times it's because their friends doing it,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
they mention it, how, and,
Word of
and-
mouth is still the best form of advertising.
It really, really is. But then sometimes you just get a new member who came into the area, had been in a garden club in her own place, and was looking and found us online, and that's happened too.
Okay.
You know,
Excellent.
knows nobody, and
Sure.
just signs up. I love that.
Excellent.
Good gardeners, too.
And it is one of your signature events is the Wollaston Garden Club's annual spring plant sale, right?
We are, and I wanted to add that you
go right
could
ahead.
also join our garden club Saturday right on site at the plant sale.
that's awesome.
there you
We
go.
have a membership table.
Of course.
You can buy your gloves if you want to go home and plant them.
Okay.
We, as
Yeah.
well as all of the plants that we have lovingly divided from our members' gardens
Yes.
and from other donated area gardens. We have a number of plants that were donated from the Thomas Crane Library Garden.
Okay, which is gorgeous.
Which
by the way.
is
Claire-
gorgeous. So
Claire
if
does a
you
wonderful
if you
job.
happen to be at the library in the next few days, you can see some of the plants that are in bloom out there. If you like them, there might be one on Saturday.
Take a picture, bring it with
Take
you.
a picture.
Yeah, right.
That's a
Absolutely.
fabulous
They're
idea.
labeled. Claire does a great job of labeling the plants that are
Yes.
there. So use the Latin name when you can, so that you get the exact plant.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
That's
yeah.
asking a lot.
That is
Well, it
asking a
is,
lot.
but if you take a picture of it,
I was
it's
gonna
easy
say.
to just
And-
Google
and
that.
she's got it.
Yeah,
Of course.
yeah. Just
Everything is
just,
Google. You can
Great-
Google anything.
Yeah, great time of year too. We just come off cleaner, greener,
We
so
did.
everything is just
Things
picture
look
perfect.
This is my
Yes.
favorite time of the year to
Really?
drive around with the flowering trees in bloom. I guess I'm not. The allergies don't bother me that much, so I don't suffer from a pollen problem. But I love to see our spring just rejuvenate and come back to life.
Sure. So tell me about the sale. What's going to be happening on Saturday?
Sale starts at 9 o'clock.
Okay, get there early.
Get there
Please,
early.
and-
We always say get there early for best selection.
Yes.
And
The
we
line
usually have a line.
forms.
And the weather seems to be
It looks
accommodating.
fantastic.
Looks good for Saturday.
It looks picture
Yeah, it
perfect.
looks really good for
We've
Saturday.
done it in other kinds of weather.
Yes.
But we prefer.
The plants don't mind if it rains,
Well, plants don't
but
mind, right.
the
No.
shoppers do.
Right.
No.
But we will have a number of people there to help a shopper. So the line forms, people are peering down the driveway to see what plants they can see.
Eyeing the one that they're going to grab.
And they do. I
Yeah.
mean, they hightail it down there, and a
Sure.
number of our people come year after year. They know where we put the sun-loving plants.
Yep.
They know where we put the shade-loving plants. They know we'll have people there to answer questions for them if they don't know what to put in a certain spot.
Excellent.
Right.
Yeah.
I also, we pride ourselves on
And visual
clarity
aids,
and
yes.
visual. Nothing beats the visual.
It's true.
But if you have a dog, don't buy the monk's hood.
Oh, see, that's great. Yeah, hold that up just a little bit higher. There you go.
Don't buy the monk's hood.
If
we don't
they
have
like
a
to
lot.
eat plants.
If
Yeah.
they're a plant-eating dog.
Okay.
And we are focusing. We're doing our best as a world. We're doing our best to promote diversity in plants and native plants that thrive in our area and help to support the specialist bees and the migrating butterflies.
Okay.
So if we know if something is a host plant, we will have some butterfly, like we'll have some milkweed,
Yep, hold that up higher. There
things
you
like
go.
that.
Yep.
So some of these will be labeled.
Okay.
All right, so if we know that we have something that supports mining bees, for example, which are specialist bees, not that we don't need the eugenius generalized
Yeah.
bees, but we do. We need all of them. But
Okay.
we will do our best to guide people toward some native plants as well if they want to add them to what they use in their landscape.
So hardy perennials, mostly
Hardy
perennials. Right?
perennials.
Some annuals, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
We do have some annuals.
Herbs, tomatoes, and other vegetables.
Yes.
Yes.
And some novelty gifts. Have you been in the wood shop again?
I
Ann?
have been in the wood shop. I have been in the wood shop. I made a garden hod, which is kind of like a harvest basket, but it's really, it's going to turn into a decor item.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and actually we've been gifted some items that might turn up at, like gardening tools and things that might be there. So look around.
All right,
You never know what
okay.
you'll find.
Kathy, you brought some examples.
We did.
To show off today.
Yes.
What have we got today?
Well, we have Sweet Woodruff right here, and it's a very pretty spring blooming
Hold that
ground
right up
cover.
so folks can see it.
Can you see that?
Yep. Up a little
Okay.
bit higher. There we
Oh.
go. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
And we also want everybody to know that we're not sending you home and having you try to remember what it was you
Right.
bought.
This is not a test, right?
We have tags
Yes.
that we have written out, so it's telling you that it's a sweet woodruff, and it gets white flowers in the spring, and that it likes part to full sun.
That's great.
And that's
Shade.
a ground
Very
shade.
helpful.
Sorry, and it's ground
Yeah.
ground cover.
And these are going to be in all the plants.
They are.
There is a, yes.
Every one of them will have a tag.
This is so unique that you brought. What is this that you brought right there?
This one here,
Yeah.
this is a May apple, and it is very unique. It's
Yeah.
a very shade-loving plant, believe it or not.
Okay.
You
It
can
feels like an
actually
umbrella.
see its bloom.
Yeah.
This,
Yep.
Can you see
they
it?
can see it from the camera.
oh,
Like
okay.
it's right there showing. And that will open up into a beautiful little white flower. And
White
then after
flower.
that, an edible fruit.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
And then in a month or so, it'll be gone.
Okay.
Until next year. It just kind of has its showy time in the spring, and
Yeah.
that's it. You
Is
know?
this native? I don't recall. ever
This,
seeing this.
did you put a native?
I
in here?
did.
Yeah,
It
it is
is?
native.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see, if you are looking to add a native, we'll attempt. There may not be one in every individual pot,
Yep.
but there will be some in the pots near the front of the row.
Okay.
Like if
help
we
you,
have,
yeah.
if we've got 12 May apple pots, a few of them will have this in there. But if you look in that row,
And it says go native.
it says go native.
Okay.
That was the big garden club initiative. That's what they
couple of
called
years
it
ago.
a couple of
Yeah.
years ago.
Okay.
And then this
the
is-
showy one.
Oh my God, this
Yeah,
is
that's
just
the thing most
stunning.
folks will recognize.
I know, bleeding heart.
The bleeding heart.
Another shade-loving plant.
Yeah.
And it's blooming right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And you can take it home, even though it's in bloom, put it in the garden, and
Yeah.
then next spring it'll start showing up.
Okay. And about how big will this get?
It's about as tall as it's going to get now,
Okay.
but it'll really fill out, you know, because this is just one plant.
Is it like a bush?
It can turn into a
Okay.
bush.
Okay.
I've had mine turn into bushes.
Okay.
And that means it's in the right spot.
Oh, all right.
And so
Okay.
half the trouble sometimes with plants when you put them in the ground is finding the right spot.
Sure.
And as Ian mentioned, there are going to be people there that will be able to help you, especially we have Master Gardener.
Yeah. So I
fully
can bring my
knowledgeable.
gardening problems.
That's a great idea. No, really.
Yeah.
Again, with the pictures, you know, take a picture.
Yeah.
I know it's a little late, but I always suggest to somebody who's trying something new, watch it for a week. Is it fully shade all the time? Is it fully sun? Is it kind of half and half? So then when you see a plant that likes partial shade, you have half a hope that you're putting half a hope that you're putting it in the right spot.
Okay,
You know,
all right.
but you can always move it. And we do
Just
that
gonna
all the
ask about
time.
Moving.
Go
plants
ahead,
the
right?
time.
move them around.
Try it.
Yeah.
Right?
Try it. It doesn't like it here. Put it someplace else.
Yeah.
If you look at a tag and on the tag it says full sun,
Yes.
you should know that those need at least 6 hours a day
All right,
of
okay.
really good sun.
To be optimum, to show their
to
best.
do their best.
You know.
See, the great thing about going to the plant sale and reading these, you get to ask questions. What does that actually mean?
Some people don't realize that they can't put a plant just anywhere.
Right. Yeah. What we didn't bring in, we didn't have room in the studio. You've got a whole. Our kitchen looks like a greenhouse out there. We've
Yep.
got different kinds of hosta plants.
That's what our backyards look like
Yeah.
right now.
Yes.
Yep.
The
And
holding
others too.
areas.
So right now I think we're over 800 plus more.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to
Plants.
have close to about 1,000 perennials
Yeah.
available for sale on Saturday.
Is that typical for the plants?
Well,
We
that's our
work for-
goal.
we
Okay.
try.
Yeah.
But again, what is it in your garden that you want to divide and give us some? Dictates what we have.
Oh,
So
okay.
we don't say we need 10 hosta.
Okay.
We say, oh, this lady gave us hosta,
Yeah.
so now we have some hosta.
Okay.
You know, so that's
I mean, you're not going out and buying these things. This is
But we do-
truly a grassroots.
You will see there will be some plants there. Like there are members who may not have a garden to divide but want to contribute.
Okay.
So they may bring a plant.
All right.
And that may be put up for sale, which
Well, it could
that's
start
fine.
a new tradition, right?
Sure.
But then maybe they
Bring
live
'em
in a
on.
small apartment and
Right.
they only have a little balcony.
Exactly, but
Yes.
and I think that's the best part about our membership.
Yeah.
Our membership have so many people that get involved.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking earlier, could I give a shout out? I'm afraid I'll miss people if
Right.
I do, because we have such an active membership. And
Mm-hmm.
we have members who really are invested and they want to be a part of it, they want to help.
Yeah.
So we thank them all for
Yeah.
whatever contributions they provide.
Oh, absolutely. The funds raised from the plant sale go right back into the club, right, Kathy?
And we have, like I said, yeah.
And your guest
I've-
speakers that you bring in, your
Yes,
specialists that
yes,
you bring
and
in.
most of it is open to the public.
Yes.
And they can just come in and enjoy. We don't charge them anything or anything.
Right.
And half the time they're like, oh, this is nice. I mean, we're just a friendly group.
Right.
I have to say, a lot of people have told me that, that when they first got in the group, they were just amazed that people were just talking to them. And, well, of course, you're going to talk about what you like.
Sure.
And it's plants,
Yeah.
you know. And then you have a speaker, like we just had a speaker about hydrangeas. Well, everybody wants to know a million answers
Yep.
to a million questions about hydrangeas. So,
And
I
look
wanna
for
highlight-
folks wearing the blue Wollaston
So
Garden
yes,
yeah.
I, not that I don't love to dress casually. However, this was planned so that this is what the members, most of the members, will be wearing.
If the weather's
you see
agreeable.
some, yeah, as long as we're not bundled up. But if you have a question, ask somebody in a blue T-shirt
Okay.
that says Wollaston Garden Club.
All right.
Okay, but I want to highlight
Yep, just
some
real
of the
quick.
things real quick that we
Yeah.
do. We offer 3 scholarships, one to a North Quincy High School student, one to a Quincy High student, and one to a Norfolk Aggie kid.
Right.
That goes, and we up the, I think it's $1,000, and we give,
amazing.
we're pretty close to
Yeah.
it. Studying in a related field.
Sure.
We also support youth and conservation committees. So we have youth projects that do some cleanups on Wollaston Beach with the DCR. We all kinds of things that we do. We have the waste diversion program in the Quincy Public Schools, the food waste that started with us.
Yep.
We had interested members.
We don't want to give away
and
too
they-
much, Ann.
Well, I know,
Because we don't
but
have time.
okay.
The plant
Okay.
sale Saturday from 9 to noon, cash, check, or Venmo accepted.
Yes.
exactly.
And it's going to be a great day to get out in the garden today, actually.
It is going to
It
be.
is.
It's going to be a great week
It's
to
going to be a
get
great
out.
week,
in the garden.
actually. The forecast actually calls for a mainly cloudy day today, but it's going to stay dry. It's going to be mild in the low 60s this afternoon. Chilly nights still. Can't break out of that trend, but we will eventually. Tomorrow is the pick. Get out, lots of sunshine, low 60s. Gray on Wednesday, wet on Thursday, sunny on Friday. There you go. Thanks to Kathy and
What
Ann.
about Saturday? You didn't say.
Sunny
Oh,
on
you don't go that
Saturday.
A
far.
week, I'm going to stretch it, but I think it's going to be okay.
I think
the
it's
long-range
gonna be.
forecast.
I'm
looks-
optimistic.
It wouldn't dare rain on the Wollaston Garden.
The plants don't care.
No, and always nice
That's right.
talking to you, Joe. Thanks for having us on.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thanks to our
Alright.
crew as well, and thank you for watching. Coming up this Friday, we'll learn about this year's squirrel run to benefit Lou Gehrig's disease here in Quincy. Hope you can join us for that. In the meantime, head to our website, qatv.org. All of our latest programs are there. There's news, information, video on demand, live streaming, and more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.